At Los Angeles' most dazzling charity gala, Maya Johnson was shoved toward the kitchen with a tray of dirty dishes in her hands. "Women like you don't belong here. You serve here," smeared Olivia Carter, the glamorous event organizer. The room glittered with billionaires, movie stars, and politicians, their eyes fixed on the only black woman in the hall. Laughter rippled through the crowd as Maya's dignity was crushed under their gaze. But what none of them knew, the very woman they were forcing to wash dishes was the true owner of the mansion they stood in. The gala was supposed to be a night of sparkle and elegance. Chandeliers glowed above rows of golden tables, violins filled the air with soft music, and champagne bottles worth over $1,000 popped every few minutes. Everyone there knew they were part of the chosen elite of Los Angeles. Everyone except Maya, or at least that's what they believed. Maya had entered quietly, wearing a simple black dress. She wasn't draped in diamonds like the socialites, nor was she surrounded by a posse of assistants like the politicians. She had come alone, with a calm smile, and for that reason, she had immediately caught Olivia Carter's sharp eye. Olivia, a woman who had built her reputation on controlling every detail of LA's high society events, didn't recognize Maya, and in her world, not being recognized meant not belonging. When Maya politely stepped toward the buffet to take a glass of water, Olivia intercepted her with a glare sharp enough to cut glass. "Excuse me, can I help you?" she asked coldly. Maya smiled and shook her head, but Olivia didn't wait for an answer. She grabbed an empty tray from a waiter's hand and shoved it into Maya's arms. "Here, make yourself useful. Someone like you shouldn't just be wandering around." For a moment, the entire room seemed to pause. Whispers spread. Curious eyes turned, and then the mocking laughter began. "Look, the new help has arrived." A man in a tuxedo chuckled. "Didn't know they were hiring from the street now." Maya felt her face burn. She wanted to shout, to tell them the truth, but she didn't. She simply tightened her grip on the tray and looked around the room. Every chandelier, every golden-framed painting on the wall, every marble step leading to the balcony, it all belonged to her. These people didn't know it yet, but they were standing in her mansion. Years earlier, Maya had been an unknown name in Los Angeles. Born in a small neighborhood and raised by a single mother, she had worked 2 jobs to pay for college. While her peers partied, Maya studied finance and real estate late into the night. By 27, she had founded a property investment firm that quietly grew into a billion-dollar empire. But Maya hated publicity. She preferred to stay behind the scenes, letting others enjoy the spotlight while she focused on building her empire. The mansion where the gala was being held had been her most ambitious purchase, an $80 million estate overlooking the Pacific Ocean. She had chosen not to live in it, renting it out for high-profile events instead. It amused her to see the so-called elite paying thousands to party under her roof, never realizing who the real owner was. But tonight, things had taken a cruel twist. As she stood in the kitchen, tray in hand, Maya overheard snippets of conversation from the hall. Politicians bragged about their influence. Movie stars gossiped about upcoming scandals. Billionaires laughed about their latest acquisitions. And then she heard Olivia's voice, louder than the rest, mocking her. "Some people really don't know their place. Imagine showing up here thinking you belong, ... The words sliced through Maya like knives. But instead of breaking, she smiled. Olivia had just made the biggest mistake of her life. Suspense filled the air as Maya set the tray down and calmly walked back into the main hall. The laughter died as people turned to watch. "Where do you think you're going?" Olivia demanded, marching toward her. Maya didn't answer. Instead, she stepped onto the small stage at the center of the room, the one reserved for the night's speeches. Gasps rippled through the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen," Maya began, her voice steady and strong. "I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but since I've been given the role of serving, let me serve you something different. The truth." Confusion spread across the room. Olivia hissed, "Get off the stage now, before I have security drag you out." But Maya ignored her. She reached into her purse and pulled out a folder of documents. With one sharp motion, she held them up for everyone to see. "These," she said, "are the ownership papers of this mansion. Every chandelier, every bottle of champagne, every brick in these walls belongs to me. My name is Maya Johnson. I own this estate, and tonight, all of you are my guests." The hall went silent. For a moment, no one even breathed. Then, slowly, whispers exploded into chaos. "She owns this place. Impossible. Is this some kind of joke?" Olivia's face drained of color. "That's a lie," she stammered. "This can't be true." But before she could say more, one of the city's most respected realtors stepped forward. "She's telling the truth. I handled the sale myself. Maya Johnson bought this estate last year." The shock hit the room like an earthquake. The same people who had laughed at Maya moments ago now looked at her with wide, guilty eyes. The billionaires who had mocked her wealth, the politicians who had dismissed her presence, the socialites who had sneered, all stood frozen, their arrogance stripped away. Maya looked around the hall, her gaze steady. "All my life, I've seen people judged by their skin color, their background, or their appearance. Tonight, I let it happen to me in silence. But let this be a reminder. Your wealth, your status, your glittering gowns mean nothing if your heart is empty. Respect is not given by money. It's earned by character." The silence was deafening. No one dared to laugh now. Then, as if to shatter the tension, Maya smiled. "Dinner is on me tonight. After all, you're in my house." Laughter erupted, but this time it was nervous, awkward, ashamed. Olivia Carter, who had spent the entire night flaunting her power, now stood humiliated, unable to meet anyone's eyes. People began murmuring about her cruelty, about her arrogance, about how blind they had been to Maya's quiet strength. By the end of the night, it was Olivia who slipped out the back door, her reputation shattered. Maya, however, walked through the grand hall with her head high, guests parting respectfully to let her pass. That night became the talk of Los Angeles. News outlets ran headlines: "Unknown mogul stuns LA elite. Owner of $80 million mansion revealed." Social media exploded with clips of Maya's speech, praising her courage and exposing the ugly arrogance of the city's so-called high society. But for Maya, it wasn't about revenge or headlines. It was about sending a message, one she hoped would echo beyond the glittering walls of her mansion. At the end of the gala, as the last guests drifted out and the music faded, Maya stood alone under the chandelier. She whispered softly to herself, "Power isn't about wealth or fame. It's about reminding the world that dignity can't be bought and respect can't be stolen." And with that, she walked out of her mansion, leaving behind not just a shaken crowd, but a story that Los Angeles would never forget.